My friends, my extended family, welcome to this week's video. My friends, today's topic, which is health anxiety symptoms, came directly from you on Instagram. So come on over to Instagram, follow @TheAnxietyGuy for the very best inspiration each and every day to start your day and to end your day. And if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please go ahead and do so and hit the bell for all the notifications for my upcoming videos. And on Instagram, there was a lot of people that wanted me to discuss health anxiety symptoms. And I don't blame these people for wanting to discuss their symptoms. I believe that we're getting more educated and we're starting to realize how just talking about the symptoms and sharing them with other people can in fact harm us in the long run. I think most of us are starting to understand this now. But I want to focus on the topic of falling for the interpretation around the health anxiety symptom, because what tends to happen is as we focus on targeted self-care, as we start doing things like reframing our past traumas, as we begin rebuilding our past relationships, our broken relationships, as we start to come into our own, our creative intelligence, what tends to happen is we tend to become more and more bored and disinterested by the old interpretations around anything regarding our anxiety. Because what tends to happen is we start to realize, we start to come into contact with the idea that these are parts of us, right? These are parts to us. And we've got a loving part, and we've got an excited part, and we've got a sad part, and we've got an anxious part, and we've got a fearful part. And so these are all different parts of us. And this subconscious mind / inner child is very highly invested in keeping us safe. And it deems safety based on what has been the most consistently repeated in a person's life. So we start to understand that these are parts of us, and we can begin to entertain other parts and not entertain our old parts. This is what tends to happen when somebody starts to heal themselves. They start to go, you know, I've wasted a tremendous amount of time and energy and focusing on this part of me, thinking that it's protecting me, thinking that it does some kind of good for me. But the truth is that I'm finally starting to see how much time I've wasted, how much energy I've wasted, and if I could have put that much time and energy on healing rather than managing my symptoms and babysitting them, oh my goodness, I could be in a totally different place. So today we're going to focus on how we can stop falling for our health anxiety symptoms, and it starts with this. First, we must create separation from instinctually reacting to them and create connection towards intuitively understanding them, right? This is like a bridge, right? On one side of the bridge, you've got the symptom, you've got the bodily symptom, and you have this instinctual reaction to it, right? And the instinctual reaction isn't something new, but it's something that's been repeated very, very often in your life. And so that's one side of the bridge. And on the other side of the bridge, there is an intuitiveness. There is a deeper understanding. There is a feeling of, okay, I feel something, and I no longer have to be reactive towards it, but I can be understanding towards it. I can be guiding towards it. Heck, you know what? I can even be, do I dare to say, compassionate towards it. Because we have berated ourselves for far too long. We have harmed ourselves for far too long, and people don't realize that with anxiety, we sabotage ourselves each and every day. It's almost like walking into a wall with your head over and over and over and over again. This inner dialogue, this inner negative dialogue that just won't end. And so First thing we have to do is we have to be open to the idea of being intuitively understanding towards these health anxiety symptoms rather than instinctually reacting to them, right? We have a choice, my friends. We have choices. Many times health anxiety and anxiety in general makes us feel like we don't have many choices, but the truth is that when we can step outside of who we believe we need to be, right? We step outside of who we believe we need to be, and we look at what's taking place from the outside, many times we can see things at a deeper level than how we normally see them, right? And this is the goal, right? Secondly, we want to take an inventory of which habits drive health anxiety further upon waking up in the morning and prior to going to sleep. I want you to take an inventory as to what's going on when you wake up in the morning, because so much of our day and so much of our perceptions and so much of our belief systems and so much of our behaviors are based around what we do within the first 20 minutes of waking up. So if you wake up every single day checking on a bodily symptom and being afraid that it is or isn't there, you know what I'm talking about, then you're just constantly living comfortably within discomfort, right? It's not okay to be miserable all the time, okay? As much as it is comfortable to live there, it's not okay. Because the world needs you. The world needs your light. The world needs your words. The world needs your true energy. So I want you to take an inventory as to what mental habits, what behavioral habits, what imaginative habits, what you're imagining is going to happen throughout the day and in the future in your life. What habits do you partake in instinctually, unconsciously, within the first 20 minutes of the day and the last 20 minutes of the day? With health anxiety and anxiety in general, we're always looking to do something that will distract us from the very thing we need to understand more deeply, which is our health anxiety symptoms. So at the end of the day, if you find yourself being on your phone all the time, absorbing this blue light all the time, and it affecting the depth and the quality of your sleep, you have to make sure that you take inventory there and say, you know what? What can I change in the morning, first 20 minutes? And what can I change in the evening, last 20 minutes, that will move me in an uncertain, unfamiliar direction and make me feel vulnerable temporarily until I meet with inner peace and healing? This is the goal. Then, and this is so important, we have to find the subconscious or inner child motivation towards falling victim to these health anxiety symptoms. I bet you never considered that the inner child has a tremendous amount of motivation based around keeping you living in a fearful emotional state, right? So we have to understand, why does the inner child want me? Why does the subconscious mind want me to live in this place where not only am I interpreting my health anxiety symptoms in a very debilitating manner, right? Disease, illness, inevitable catastrophe, but why am I always interpreting everything as being a threat? This is how I used to live. I used to imagine going into work and people staring at me, and I would literally imagine these things saying, oh my God, are you okay? You look really pale today. And if someone told me that, oh my God, okay, I'm going home, I'm taking care of this paleness, right? Because you just told me that I am sick and I am dying and then things are inevitable. I have to make my peace with my family. I have cancer, blah, blah, blah. All these ideas, right, that tend to get justified through Google, for example, right? You go on Google And Google will never tell you that emotional suppression, trauma, mental activity have much to do with your anxiety symptoms. No, it always has to do with HIV, or it has something to do with a brain tumor or something like that. But let me tell you something, this is not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with something that is completely different. And yes, I just provided you a sense of reassurance, but please don't go about your day looking for that all day long, because it is not a long-term healing strategy. So going back to this, what is the motivation, the inner child motivation to keeping us stuck within a fearful state? And there are a couple questions, 3 questions that I want you to write down and I want you to look deeper into. You may not have the answer right away, and that's fine. That's called trust, right? That's called faith, that the answer will arise later on. Don't get frustrated when you don't find the answer to something, but rather have the faith that because you've placed the intention there, the answer will show up intuitively in time. The first question you want to ask your inner child is, why does the inner child demand perceiving the world in a fearful manner? Why does the inner child demand perceiving the world in a fearful manner? It's a powerful question. Second question would be, what scares the inner child most about believing in inner peace and self-love? Right? What scares the inner child most about believing in inner peace and self-love? Many times we've created an emotional association that says inner peace equals laziness. Inner peace means unproductive. I mean, if you live in a developed world, right, you see people, running from one place to the next. They don't even know what they're thinking. They don't know what they're eating. They can't smell anything. There's just strict unconsciousness there. It's called zombie-like unconsciousness, right? So these could be the emotional associations keeping you from tapping into self-love, tapping into inner peace. And we have to understand where these come from. Third question would be, what is the inner child looking to prevent you from doing by elevating these health anxiety symptoms, right? Because these symptoms are based on protection. As you can see, with the health anxiety sufferer, their worlds become smaller and smaller and smaller. They answer the phone less, they text people less, they communicate with others less, right? They no longer embark on creative acts as much as they used to. They don't even allow themselves to step out of what's been the norm of sleep, wake up, go to sleep, this sort of habitual way of living. And so there are reasons for why the inner child is elevating these health anxiety symptoms. And we have to understand these reasons. We have to understand why the inner child is looking to protect us so very much from anything new. Not only anything new situationally, but anything new in terms of who we can become. Right? The inner child, the subconscious, doesn't want us to be a self-loving, inner, peaceful human being because X, and I want you to find that X. Warriors, I want you to remember this, okay? Remember that you are one new interpretation away from putting your health anxiety behind you for good. You are one new interpretation away from putting your health anxiety away for good. I want you to stop convincing yourself that this journey towards healing is hard, because that's called programming. There's no real scientifically driven evidence that says anything is hard. None whatsoever. Okay? I've witnessed miracles, health anxiety miracles, GAD miracles, panic disorder miracles, cancer, physical illness miracles. I've seen it all. And I've come to the conclusion that it is us that is our own worst enemy when it comes to health, anxiety, healing. It is us. We are the ones preventing ourselves from healing. You are the one preventing yourself from healing. And starting today, what I need you to do for yourself is I need you to see beyond anxiety. I need you to see beyond these ideas that you've entertained for far too long, because it's time that you became more than anxiety. Warriors, head on over to theanxietyguy.com right here. Learn more about the Inner Circle program today and begin your healing journey. Give this video a like. Please share it with somebody who needs it. And also, comment below on what your biggest moment of clarity was from this video. I believe that there's more than one, but I want to focus on just one. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.